Hello everybody. In the current affairs this week, the week ended 1st of March 2026. The biggest news this week was war has started in the Gulf region. Very unfortunate news. India has balanced relationships with the countries in the Gulf, and India as such is nowhere involved in it. But the fact remains that India would definitely get impacted on account of this war. India imports 85 to 90% of its crude oil needs, and the transit of crude oil and the prices of crude oil would escalate on account of this crisis. This will lead to a larger payment on account of crude oil needs of the country, leading to a larger current account deficit for India. This will also lead to a depreciation of the Indian rupee on account of the rising crude oil prices. Aviation and travel has already been impacted in a big way. These disruptions, if they continue for a longer period of time, would severely impact India. Shipping in the entire region has also been impacted, and this will lead to an impact on exports and imports as far as India is concerned. The Indian and global stock markets will react negatively, and the investors will try to find refuge in precious metals. These are challenging times, not just for the countries which are involved in the war, but also the world at large, and especially countries like India. The Indian stock market this week was in a downward trend. Nifty 50 was down by more than 1.5%. Nifty mid cap was also mildly down, and Nifty small cap was down by around 0.5%. FIIs were sellers to the extent of 4,600 crores, but DIIs were buyers to the extent of more than 24,000 crores. Nifty IT continues its downslide and was down by 4.38% just this week. And this month, it is down by more than 20%. 20% decline in just 1 month. Nifty Realty also corrected by 4.89%. The reason for correction in Nifty Realty is that if the Indian IT sector faces challenges, the demand for realty in India would also suffer. In the commodity market, Brent crude was up by 2.20% and ended at $72.81 to a barrel. But this prices, after the weekend war in the Gulf region, it might scale up to some very different levels. Gold was up this week by 2.60%, and silver was up by 6.55% this week in India. The US dollar closed at 91 rupees and 38 paisa against 90 rupees and 73 paisa last week. Nasdaq mildly corrected by around 1%, and S&P 500 this week corrected by 0.5%. Since last 2 weeks, I have been talking about the MSCI South Korean benchmark. Even this week, it was up by 9.72%. This leads to an annual gain in this benchmark of more than 180% in just 1 year. In last few years, the rich and the savvy people of the world slowly and steadily gravitated towards the Middle East and especially Dubai for the reason that there was zero tax and there was a lifestyle which was available for people who would like to stay in these countries. But nobody realized that these countries do not have their own defense setup and they are vulnerable. India, on the other hand, has its own strong defense setup and also a nuclear deterrent. That is all for this week. Thank you.